Packers and Cardinals, you may have heard, kicking off Week 8 around the NFL. We have a panel here to talk about it. Draftkings contributors, Pearce Dietrich, Reid Fowler, Kenny Ducey. Friendly reminder, there's a Millie Maker for this one available right now in the DK lobby. $20. That's all it'll cost you to enter. Winner takes home $1 million. Reid, who are you going to captain tonight in the showdown contest?
It's going to be Mercedes. No, it's not.
Oh, come on, you coward.
Coward. I know. Cowardly move. I'm actually going at the exact opposite. I'm going at the very top in Kyler Murray at 18K. Like, this correlates with the D-Hop stack that I want to play. I know D-Hop's coming in with a little bit of an injury, and I'll get to that in a little bit. But Murray's got 7 touchdowns in the last 2 weeks, right? A far cry from only a few in the first 5 weeks. And that ranks 4th, right? Excuse me, the last 2 weeks. And he's got a 75.9 red zone passer grade on PFF, which ranks 4th. And we've seen what it does, right, in terms of your fantasy outlook when a guy like Aaron Rodgers or Kyler Murray pass a lot Matt Stafford in the red zone. That's what these guys are doing. I know James Conner is there. He's getting all of those red zone touches. But Kyler Murray, and especially Green Bay's pass defense in the red zone, it's right in the middle. I think he can do really, really well here. I think he can potentially rush for one. He hasn't yet, or excuse me, he hasn't done it much, as much as he was last year. But Kyler Murray at 18K at the very top, I think he's playing at an MVP level like he was in the first 4 or 5 weeks.
Yeah, I don't think he's had a rushing touchdown since week 3, but getting plenty of damage done with his arm. Kenny, how about you, dude? You got someone who's cheaper?
Yeah, I do. Look, I really like some of these secondary and tertiary options on the Arizona Cardinals in terms of going with my captain. And this is going to be sort of, I wouldn't say a homer pick. I have no connection to the Philadelphia Eagles, but I really do like this guy. And it's Zach Ertz at $6,300. I really think that the targets don't lie here. It's 6 targets in his debut. I think that we're only going to see him get more acclimated into this offense. We saw last week that he's very, very, very capable still. He's not washed up. He's very talented, just didn't get the ball last year, and people sort of forgot that he's still a good tight end. Kyler Murray wants to throw to him, and I think that he's going to be open as a safety valve. The Packers might be showing pressure on Kyler Murray to compensate for their bad secondary. That could leave Zach Ertz open over the middle of the field in short yardage situations. I think that he's going to be a pretty integral part of this offense, but the bigger thing is, like Reid, I do like Kyler Murray here. I have a little bit of interest in DeAndre Hopkins and some of these other Cardinals offensive weapons because you want to go against the worst defense here. So I want to save a little bit of money. I have to save a little bit of money at captain. I can't afford to pay for Kyler Murray. So I'm actually going to pay for Zach Ertz at $9,300. Pretty good price.
All right, Pearce, you got someone with a pretty good price?
No, I don't. Let Kenny chase the secondary, the tertiary. He can go after the quaternary as well. I'm going to stick with the primary and go with Reid and pay up for Kyler Murray in a great spot. Finally, we get to attack this Green Bay secondary that's missing Jair Alexander. It's just they play weak opponents. We've never really been able to exploit them. You got Kevin King might play, or it could be the guy who couldn't beat Kevin King out of a position. That's a pretty terrible secondary. Green Bay should be able to put points on the board. That's going to force Kyler to be a little bit more aggressive, at least not conservative, at least not running the ball and taking it easy in the second half. We're going to see probably a little bit more rushing. He does have the 4th best odds to score a rushing touchdown. His player prop odds numbers are really through the roof. 277 passing, 28 rushing, 2.5 passing touchdowns. The ceiling here, I just don't see how you can pass it up. You got to find the money elsewhere. You've got to get him in your captain spot.
Yeah, he's totaled 17 rushing yards, though, just over the past 3 games. Kenny, where are you looking for some value, dude?
I like AJ Green. I know that, again, I did hint that I like a little bit of tertiary, secondary options. I'm also now remembering that I thought you were going to ask me who I'm stacking with. So
yeah, you could do that too. I mean, whatever, man.
Let's talk about the value here, because I'm really excited about the value. Obviously, everyone is, because the Packers are missing so many names. But I think the guy that could go overlooked here is Robert Tonyan. And I think that ultimately he will be the guy for Aaron Rodgers. It won't be Randall Cobb. It won't be Allen Lazard. Tonyan is the guy that stepped up on primetime before for Aaron Rodgers. He's been a reliable receiver. And coming off a pretty good game, a 13 DK fantasy point game last week, we know he's talented. We know he's trustworthy with the ball in his hands. It's just a matter of when he gets thrown the football. Obviously, the Cardinals are a very good secondary, a very good defense accomplished. They're not going to just let, the Aaron Rodgers top target get open a bunch. But I think if you're going to take a value option, you're probably looking at one of the players on the Packers, just given all these injuries and given the fact that you don't need much out of Tonyan at $4,600 to make an impact. But I think that is the guy that I'm going to land with here. on the Packers. I'm gonna fade the St. Browns of the world and the Lazards in favor of Tonyan.
Yeah, with so many key receivers sidelined, you would think that he would get a nice little chunk of the pie tonight. Third on the team in targets. Pearce, you got some value?
Chase Edmonds, he's not going to save you a bunch, but he is on the cheap side. Green Bay last season, 30th. When we're talking about giving up fantasy points to receiving running backs, they're 21st this season. They haven't improved. It's just that they played the fourth easiest schedule. They don't guard running backs out of the backfield. Chase Edmonds is going to be in a great spot. We would like to have seen him be a little bit more active recently. Same thing with Kyler Murray. You talked about always not running the ball. He doesn't have to run the ball because they're not playing competitive games. But in the competitive games, Murray will run and Edmonds will run routes. You look at the Los Angeles game, he ran over 20 routes. You look at the game against Minnesota, again, he ran over 20 routes. And then also, if you want to think or buy into the fact that maybe Kyler Murray's shoulder is not 100%, well, if his shoulder isn't 100%, he's not going to sling the ball downfield. He's going to go to a lot of the smaller A-dot routes, and that'll be Chase Edmonds.
Okay, Sweet T Fowler.
Yeah, I know Ducey is grinding NBA and World Series right now, but Alan Lazard is out. So I hope he's not chasing a guy like Alan Lazard. He's been out he's close contact with Devontae and he's not vaccinated. Mm-hmm. So he's not going to obviously make it in time. But to his point, I think Tonyan is definitely there. We saw Tonyan, right, get these like 2 or 3 touchdown games. And I think that's where the value, and Kenny's onto something, right? The value is on the Green Bay side with a lot of the high price guys on the Cardinals. I think A.J. Dillon at 1,400. Look, I get his last week was not great, right? Like 18.9 snap share, but his 3 weeks previous to last week, he averaged around 38% snaps. And we saw what he was doing, right? He was cutting into Aaron Jones's workload. And it's less about Aaron Jones losing snaps, more about let's keep this guy healthy because we're actually a really good team right now. But he's a guy, look, if all of these receivers are out, we're talking about Adams, Lazard being out, all these targets open, Aaron Jones potentially in a huge workload. You don't think that the Green Bay Packers are going to go back to their, the guys that they know can start and play well, like a guy like A.J. Dillon? We've seen a guy like Aaron Jones, too, work out in the slot, out wide, like 8 snaps with both of those guys in the lineup for Aaron Jones lining up out wide and in the slot in the receiver role. So who knows? Maybe we see a couple of these guys or a couple of the running backs on the field at the same time. And A.J. Dillon, look, $1,400. This guy was up to I know it's on the main slate, but he was up to high fives a couple of weeks ago. And so I still think that he's still a guy that they want to factor into this offense.
Yeah, we still got to see, too, if MVS is going to be activated tonight.
Right.
I believe the Packers have until, we talked about it last night on the Sweat, Reid, but the Packers have until 4 o'clock today to decide that. So everyone watching, keep an eye on that. Okay, Pearce, let's go over to the Draftkings Sportsbook here, dude. What's your favorite player prop tonight?
I'll stick with my value play. Chase Edmonds over 22.5 receiving yards. I already mentioned the Green Bay struggles against receiving running backs. Their hands are going to be full with this receiver core, so Edmonds is not going to receive much attention whatsoever. He's averaging 24 receiving yards per game. And in a lot of those games, as I mentioned, he didn't really need to be that active. There were games where they had a lead. They didn't really have to pass to the receiver out of the backfield. He didn't need to play all 4 quarters. And then even if the volume's not there, which it might not be, a player like Chase Edmonds is explosive enough that he can get there in basically one play.
All right, yeah. It sounds like someone agrees with you. Reid, what's your favorite player prop tonight?
Perfect timing. That is
really
cinematic beauty right there, just punctuating Pierce's point. It's going to correlate. DeAndre Hopkins over 63.5 yards. Look, I know that he hasn't reached this in the last 2 weeks, but this is his lowest total on the entire season. This is a primetime matchup. I know he's dealing with a hamstring injury. I think the reports where he was a game time decision are going to work it out pregame. This is a big matchup, right? 2 primetime teams in a primetime game. 6.7 average targets on average this season. I think he goes above that, and I think he can easily get you 80 and 90 and a couple of touchdowns.
Kenny, where are you looking on the DK Sportsbook for a player prop?
Yeah, this one I really, really like. I like Aaron Rodgers to throw an interception at plus 175. I think these are fantastic odds, and I know he's only thrown 1 since he threw 2 in the Packers' season opening loss to the Saints. But the Arizona Cardinals, second in passing DVOA, you talk about a team that is 12th in interception rate, 4th in takeaways per game, and Aaron Rodgers is not going to have the luxury of throwing to his more accomplished, his more experienced receivers. I think you could get some wrong routes run here with some younger receivers. Maybe Amari Rodgers runs the wrong way on a play. We don't know, but the bottom line here is Aaron Rodgers is definitely going to not have his best weapons here. He's going to struggle a little bit through the air. I think he could throw an interception here against a very, very good defense at picking off passes.
All right, let's go slate-approved pick time here, dudes. I just need your favorite Thursday night football bet on the DK Sportsbook. Fowler, go ahead.
Yeah, Murray over 2.5 touchdowns. Packers defense in the red zone ranked 16th, and they just can't. I mean, Eric Stokes as well on the Green Bay side. He's a rookie. He's probably going to be shadowing a guy like D-Hop. So I'd say 2 of those go to D-Hop.
All right, young Kenneth. Oh, I think you're muted, dude.
Nope.
Go ahead. Try it. And 3, 2, 1. Go ahead.
Slate-approved pick.
Nope.
Reid is right. That's the slate-approved
Pearce. Go ahead, dude. Slate-approved pick. Best bet tonight.
Aaron Rodgers over 9.5 rushing yards. That's basically one scramble. We know that he doesn't have his receivers, so he's going to have to try to look and find people open, make things work on the ground. Look at his last 2 games. He's gone for almost 20 rushing yards in both games. What's the theme in those 2 games? He faced teams with pretty good pass rushes. Oh, by the way, Arizona also has a pretty good defensive line. He's going to scramble. He should easily get over this 9.5 rushing yards for Aaron Rodgers. Come on.